Hey everybody, and welcome back. Today is November 27th of 2020. Hope everyone out there enjoyed their Thanksgiving, hopefully with family. In this video, we're going to be talking about the passing of Argentine footballer Diego Maradona, who passed away on November 25th, just a couple of days ago. We're going to talk about the numerology of Diego in this video, and how it's related to the total solar eclipse that occurs on December 14th this year, where the path of totality runs right through Argentina, and in fact the point of greatest eclipse lands smack dab in the middle of the nation. This video is also going to review the numerology of Lionel Messi, who is a current Argentine footballer, one that many would argue whose skill level may have matched or surpassed Maradona at this point. However, Messi does not have a World Cup victory to his name, whereas Maradona captured one in 1986, as seen here. And we'll talk about how the hand of God play that led Argentina to that World Cup victory is also numerically related to his death. Now, down in the description below, there's a link to my video on the Eclipse Crucifixion code, which I put up, I believe, last October, which describes how this code works. And as we continue to see throughout 2020, actors, celebrities, athletes continuing to die by this code. So this year, the total solar eclipse of 2020, and remember, total solar eclipse equals 202 in the standard alphabetic order. The point of greatest eclipse is in Argentina, and now just less than a month before this eclipse, we get the death of the greatest Argentinian football player in history. Now, the first thing that stuck out to me about this man's death is how it fell 19 days before this Argentinian eclipse. Now, 19 is a significant number when talking about eclipses. Look at how the phrase total solar eclipse sums to 67 in the standard reduction method. 67 is what we call a prime number, divisible by only 1 and itself. See how 67 is the 19th prime number. 67, also the value of blood sacrifice, if I can say that, and human sacrifice, also 67 in the same method. So Maradona dying 19 days before that solar eclipse, and solar eclipse with a value of 190 in reverse. Lionel Messi, born on June 24th, the date leaving 190 days in the year. But notice how his full name, Lionel Andres Messi, sums to 244 in reverse, the same value as Diego Maradona in the same cipher. Now, 244 is connected to this number 19 through Gematria. In Jewish or Latin Gematria, the word 19 sums to 244. And think about how this year the United States turns 244 years old, and now we're undergoing the COVID-19 scamdemic. In Hebrew Gematria, the word for kill sums to 19 and 244. So the 19th prime number, as we mentioned, 67, like blood sacrifice, like total solar eclipse. In ordinal, Maradona equals 67. Notice how blood sacrifice and human sacrifice have this value of 86 in the reverse alphabetic order. The hand of God play is what Diego Maradona is best known for, and this is where the ball clearly touches his hand right before he puts it in the net, and his team ended up winning the game by 1 goal. That was in the quarterfinals. Argentina won 2 more games and ended up winning the World Cup. Now, the hand of God occurred in the 86 World Cup. We've been talking about 19, how he died 19 days before the eclipse. Well, 19 sums to 86 in the alphabetic order. If you measure from the anniversary of the date of that play, June 22nd, to November 25th when he died, you get 156 days. Now, the number 156 is highly significant to the eclipse code. Every eclipse must occur 1, 5, or 6 lunar phases after the last one. In Hebrew, the word they use for eclipse sums to 156, and in ordinal, eclipse the sun is 156. 156 is connected to 666, as I show on this slide here. And 666 is a number of the moon. 666 and the moon both share this 283 gematria in Jewish. Notice how the hand of God and Argentina sum to 283 in that same method. What's also cool about the gematria of the hand of God is how it sums to 107 and 62 in our standard ordinal and reduction methods. This is the same as the name Diego Maradona. 107 and 62 also sacrifice numbers as seen in the reverse method. And Diego's date of birth even leaving 62 days on the calendar. That was October 30th of 1960. Now, looking closer at this Argentinian eclipse that occurs next month, if you measure from Diego's date of birth to the date of this eclipse, you get 21,960 days. And of course, the digits 1960 are here, and that's interesting because he was born in the year 1960. But think about it. Born in 60, dead at the age of 60. His nickname was the Golden Kid, which sums to 60 in reduction. But perhaps the greatest riddle of all within this whole event, as well as his connection to Messi, is the number 34. Diego Maradona was born on the 304th day of a leap year, and of course in numerology this 0 is ignored, so this represents the number 34. In the reverse reduction method, hand of God equals 34. And if you measure from the date of that play to the date of his death, you get 34 years. The word murder, interestingly enough, sums to 34. And if you measure from his death to his next birthday, you get a span of 340 days. This number connects him to Messi, whose name equals 34. Messi plays for FC Barca, which sums to 34 in ordinal. And Messi's birthday, June 24th, falls a span of exactly 34 weeks after Diego Maradona's. And you can take that a step further. The 34th prime number is 139, as we see here on the right side of your screen. And Maradona was born 1,390 weeks before Messi. Now, Messi's next birthday will be his 34th. Maradona died 212 days before Messi's birthday. And the name Diego Maradona equals 212 with capital letters. 212, by the way, this is a number that's also part of the sacrifice code, which we're going to look at very closely here. Notice how the phrase ritual sacrifice equals 212 in both of our primary Kabbalah ciphers. Without the end date, this is also 211 days. Ritual human sacrifice, 211 in ordinal. And we're told that Maradona died of heart failure. Certainly that's possible. 60-year-old man, it could have happened. You know, when you look at what's going on in the world, it just makes you wonder. But the next part of this, I want to talk about how it's even further related to the eclipse code. Now, when we're talking about the eclipse code, we're talking about essentially the crucifixion of Jesus. This story comes from the New Testament. 3 of the 4 Gospels tell us that darkness fell over the sky during the crucifixion. And the symbolism is clear. The death of the Son related to the death of the Son of God. Curiously, the date that the Catholic Church teaches as the crucifixion of Jesus was April 3rd of 33 AD, which historically is the date of a lunar eclipse. Crucifixion of Jesus Christ in ordinal has this value of 303. Again, we're told it happened in 33 AD. On the date of a lunar eclipse, lunar is 33, as is eclipse. Maradona died on the 330th day of a leap year. And Lionel Messi is currently 33 years old. Now, in this crucifixion code, a very significant number is 173. In the book of Matthew, it's discussed how Jesus cries, "Eli, Eli," which translates to, my God, my God." Now, the number Eli, or the word Eli, if you flip this upside down, shows us 3 numerical digits. That would be the number 173. On the date of the Argentinian eclipse, Messi will be 173 days after his 33rd birthday. Maradona's full name, Diego Armando Maradona, sums to 173 in ordinal. Furthermore, this is the 40th prime number, which I hope we will get to see. You know, if you just refresh my website, eventually it works. But 173 is another prime number. This would be the 40th prime number. And not only does his full name equal 173, but the name Diego equals 40. And the date of his death had a life lesson number of 40. In the reverse alphabetic order, Maradona's full name is 367, like Eclipse Crucifixion Code. (367), another prime number, the 73rd. And this ties us to his name, Diego Maradona, 73, just like solar eclipse. (73) is another number of sacrifice, 73 ordinal. The phrase ritual sacrifice, also 73 in reduction. At the top of my post, I linked to this CNN article. And of course, CNN, part of this federal government cabal establishment, which is currently at war with the people of this nation, attempting to crash our economy by locking us down, putting as many people as they can on the government's shoulders for paychecks. Anyway, the phrase ritual sacrifice equals 154 in the alphabetic order. That's the same as Argentina in reverse. Maradona died 154 days after Messi's birthday. But check out CNN's headline. Diego Maradona dies after suffering heart failure. This sums to 1540 in Jewish Gematria. And for some reason, I can't scroll to the headline because of this silly advertisement. Let's see if I can yank this out. Well, anyway, you see the 423 and 216 in reduction. In English Gematria, the moon equals 423, and it has an equatorial diameter of 2,160 miles, which represents this 216 here. Now, shout out to Bobby Simpson, of course, always doing some of the best work with astrology, connecting it to Gematria, and he found something really interesting. Perhaps a little bit of synchronicity or foreshadowing from a Netflix series. Now, there's a show called... what is this show called? The Umbrella Academy. Now, umbrellas are very important to this occultic symbolism. A lot of people have done a lot of good work on this. But this show appears to have perhaps foreshadowed the death of Diego Maradona, and let's talk about how. In that show, there's a character named Diego Hargreaves. And I found it interesting that Diego died on November 25th in this series. November 25th, the same date that Diego Maradona died. And of course, 2020 falls 57 years after 1963, the year that Hargreaves is said to have died. 57, another number of the moon. Moon 170, just like Hand of God. Now, if you look at Diego Maradona's age when he died, notice how he was just about exactly 743 lunar phases old. And this show, The Umbrella Academy, has an episode called 743. And this episode, is connected to the assassination of JFK. That's basically the topic of this episode. It's a really interesting connection there. In fact, this episode, 743, was released on July 31st earlier this year. And think about the date, the 31st of July, written 317 or 31-7. The Umbrella Academy equals 317 in reverse. So there seems to be a pretty solid connection there too. And while we're looking at the astrology charts, I want to point out how Maradona was a Scorpio, born on October 30th. That sign is ruled by the planet Mars, and Maradona died at 31 Martian years old. Diego equals 31, so does Maradona. All right, guys, thanks for popping in. Peace, love, God bless, and we'll talk to you next time. See ya!